Rock Rage Radio. You wanted the best, well, you got the best. Hey guys, I am the Black Dahlia. The cutie with the booty, hottie with the body, thong wearing, chainsaw wielding, scream queen, professional wrestling's first ever chainsaw queen. And I am your host, Rock Rage Radio. We are going to be going live every Wednesday, and we're going to be bringing on guests. We are going to be discussing horror movies, professional wrestling, and of course, rock and roll. You guys do not want to miss it. Xenia.
That's
fucking
me.
Beautiful. I love that name. I love the name Xenia. I literally was calling you Xena Warrior Princess, though. Do you get that a lot?
I get that a lot.
Like, does it annoy you, though? Does it annoy you, or you feel like it's an honor?
I think it's not a bad thing to be compared to, right? So I wouldn't say I'm annoyed about it, but like, yeah, it's like, the eye is right there.
Right, okay, well, some of us are dyslexic, Xenia. Some of us are dyslexic.
Fair.
Because I can't be serious with you right now. I love you so much.
I'm to blame.
No, it's completely me, but I can't be serious right now.
I mean, people don't go in here to see you be serious, so it's fun.
Well, I mean, we have very important topics, though, baby. Like, let's
true.
get into it. This whole social media thing, like, you are doing educational missions. Like, what is that?
Yeah, so I've been doing social media for a really long time, right? I've been a creator for like 7 years. And I feel like I've just accumulated so much knowledge and I've tried so many things. And I've pretty much used my platforms as a sandbox to try everything and anything that gets thrown at me by the algorithm, by the websites, by life, by everything. So I feel like I've just learned so much that I have to share it now. And I've actually started doing seminars. I've been doing seminars the entirety of last year. On branding, on media literacy, on media education, media development for wrestlers, for promotions, for other wrestling adjacent professionals, creators, photographers, this kind of thing. And I'm actually starting free masterminds for wrestling professionals soon. So that announcement is coming to my socials, and people will be able to come on and listen and learn and connect with other people.
How exciting! You literally are like a Jedi Knight. You are the master of your trade, and you're giving back to us young Padawans. I am such
I love
a dork.
that.
I'm
going to start saying that.
You are going to get so many nerdy references within this next, however long we go, baby. I'm fascinated by that. So you are a master at social media, and you're immediately giving back, and you can educate people on this. Hello. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Oh, I don't even know if I'm allowed to cuss on live. Oh my gosh, this is...
I mean, this is your show. I guess you decided to say.
Baby, they put me as the face of the show. It's like, yes, I am a professional broadcaster.
Yes, very serious.
Of
very
course,
serious business.
Of course. Let's add that to the resume. Guys, okay, so you're a social media master. You are the Jedi Knight of influencing. So that's why I reached out to you. You and I have bonded over important topics, though, such as mental health.
Yeah.
And you and I have recently just connected. And the world of wrestling is actually what brought us together. So what brought you into wrestling?
It's a long story. I've been a fan for many years. I've been a fan for pretty much as long as I can remember.
Start from the beginning. I'm so stoked.
I got into wrestling when I was 11. Just randomly saw it on TV while I was in England, not even anywhere that I live right now. And, and the rest is history. And then it's just life brought so many things together for me. It's almost like it was destiny, where I've always been into creating things. I've always been into writing. I've always been into public speaking. And then my education is also in the appropriate sphere. My bachelor's is in PR and journalism, and my master's is in new media. So I've just kind of put this whirlwind of things together, and that's how I started creating wrestling content about seven-ish years ago, I would say.
You guys heard it here. She's more than just beautiful. She's brains as well. Oh my God. So my girlfriend here is not only stunning, but she is smart and educated. I think that's important. A lot of people miss out on the arts. There's actual Like, we have to study and perfect our craft. Like, and you did it literally. You got the degrees,
I
and
did
I
that
think that's
one with
really
you.
smart of
Great.
you, baby. Like, guys, if you want to learn from her, she truly is a master. She's not just like
Thank
some
you.
random bimbo online that's just like, oh, I'm hot and I'm gonna model. Like, she is an educated lady, and this is exciting. I see your content online, and you're doing amazing things. And with wrestling though, what do you think about the current product right now, babe?
I think it's honestly the best time to be a wrestling fan right now. There's so many exciting things going on in
Yes.
wrestling, and there's
Yes.
something for everyone. And honestly, part of my vision for the world of wrestling and part of what I want to facilitate and be a part of, right, and bring into the world is making wrestling a fully mainstream type of entertainment. Wrestling doesn't lack anything that movies have, or that comic books have, or that TV shows have. And wrestling has the potential to have so much reach in this world. And I think we're slowly but surely moving in that direction, with WWE being on Netflix, with AEW signing a new TV deal as well, with TNA having record attendances, and then all of the collaboration that's going on in the world of wrestling right now. AEW is working in Japan and as well with CMLL, and then we see WWE working with TNA. I think it's just a beautiful and robust world of entertainment that's
Yes.
waiting to
It's
blow up beyond imagination.
it's a world. It's always been a world. I think you would agree with this. It's a world inside of the world, and
Yeah.
wrestling is dipping wrestling is a part of every world. You don't have to be a wrestling fan to know a wrestling, or like, I feel like um a lot more people that are not educated in wrestling or have been fans of wrestling are becoming fans of wrestling because how popular it's become. And
Yeah.
I feel like being involved in the business as a profession, like, this is how we make our money, and it's a very exciting time. There's jobs for everyone, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what the next 5 years brings. Like, where do you see yourself with the wrestling community? Do you have any long-term dreams?
I do. I do.
Tell
It
me.
kind of stems from what I was just talking about. Like, I'd like to share my knowledge and my skills on a higher level and really help wrestling become this big, beautiful thing. So, in terms of like, where do I see myself in 5 years, right? I'd like to work with a bigger televised promotion. AEW would be the perfect option for me because I feel like that is the kind of wrestling that, first of all, I like, but also that's the kind of wrestling that has the potential to touch bigger audiences, to touch different people from different walks of life. And I think it would be a really good cause to even like unite people through wrestling like that, right? So I would love to help AEW or any other bigger promotion really get more audiences, get more mainstream, get more income that then can be invested into them flourishing as well as a company to showcase more talent, to just be this big and beautiful thing. So that's
Yeah.
definitely where I would see myself
Well, we're
in the near
speaking it
future.
into existence, baby. You are gorgeous, you are intelligent, and you are driven, and you are already on that path of making that possible. And I'm telling you right
Okay.
now, where I've dipped my toe back into the business, and I'm really marinating in the community. I am literally, if you're not there before me, baby, I'll make. I literally, I always, good people have jobs when I'm around. Let's just say that. And I literally am manifesting that for you. And I see you having a nice career in AEW. Of
Thank you so much. And I
course.
see you having a big, beautiful career in wrestling as well, because your story is honestly so inspiring. I know you're probably tired of hearing that, right? And
This
I
is
know
about
that,
you,
like,
baby. You don't have to put me over. I want to put you
no,
over.
no, because
Thank
it's
you.
true though. I want to. And I know that, like, you probably have a lot of people coming at you being like, you're so brave. And like, you didn't have a choice. You had to be brave. And
Exactly.
to come
It's
out on top of it and to be back in wrestling into something so physically demanding and mentally demanding too.
thousand
It's
percent.
it's admirable. It's crazy. It's awesome to see.
I'll just put a bow in what you just said. I had no choice, you know? Like, it's
Yeah.
not like I was the superhero and it's like, da, 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 yeah, I'm so cool. No,
Yeah.
it's like I literally had no choice. Coming from nothing and putting all my money and all my finances into training for my education, and then just to be put in a wheelchair, I lost everything. So when you come from poverty and when you come from all you have is wrestling and you live and breathe wrestling. That's what kept me alive. And that's why I'm still here to this day. And then to wrestle, I just feel like it'd be wrong not to. So yeah, of course. Like I had no other choice, and now I'm going to wrestle, and now I'm meeting amazing people like you, and I get it. Like there's bad in this world, you know. Like you can't have lightness without the dark, because what could you contrast it with, you know? So you have to have that darkness, and I have seen the darkness in this community, and I've seen the evils of the politics in this community of wrestling, and like people just trying to get jobs and will stab you in the back. And you're a good person, and I am so glad that I've met. I have a small tribe, and you're a part of my tribe, and I want to focus and put you over. That's why when I got offered this job for a radio show, and they're like, hey, who do you want to bring on? We want the community of rock and roll. We want the community of horror movies. We want the community of wrestling. You were one of the first ones I thought when it came to wrestling. And I thought,
I appreciate it so much. I'm so flattered.
of course, like you've been on my mind. Like you're one of the people that I was like, you made an impact on me with that mental health episode, babe. And you've always been in the back of my mind. And of course, when I think wrestling, you're going to be in that. And then also what the uniqueness of the social media aspect that you bring to the table, because you have all these wrestlers that don't know how to they'll be on the A game. They'll be like the new rising star, but they don't know how to use the platforms. And
because we see all the A-list celebrities have managers, have agents, have people who run their social media, have PR strategies, and that's why it's so hard for them to actually get canceled or say something that they would regret, because there's just so many levels of control that it goes through. But with wrestling, it's this growing industry that's getting a lot of new eyes, a lot of new viewers, a lot of new audiences. And meanwhile, wrestlers are neglecting a very, very important part of it. That is
it's a part
social
of the
media.
job.
That
Guys,
yeah.
Listen to her. It is a part. Like you can't just wrestle now. Like so, you'll be stupid not to use social media. And I feel like that's another reason why you're on this this platform right now. Is like it's a good opportunity for the viewers to understand that taking seminars like yours, it could be life changing.
It could be. It could be career changing. It could be life changing. And I'd go as far as saying, without it, without media literacy, without PR, without social media, you cannot be a superstar in this industry. Like, how many superstars in wrestling can you name? Like, there's only maybe 10 names, right, that immediately pop into mind. For us, maybe more, because we work in this industry, right? But for a fan or for someone who's just getting acquainted with wrestling, there's only one John Cena, there's only one The Rock, there's only one,
it's these
Mercedes
characters.
Moné. And to get there, you have to be the full package, and you have to take it seriously. And like you said, social media is a part of your job. It's not something that you don't decide. It's not something that can be a bonus. No, impossible to get to the top without it. It's impossible. So it's extremely important.
Definitely, you are one of the people that people need to pick the brain, educate yourself, flourish in this business. Whether you want to pick up a guitar and become an artist, pick her brain, wrestler. Like it'd be dumb not to. Like it'd be stupid not to. So like let's branch off from wrestling for a second. What music are you into? Do you like rock music, babe?
I do, but I feel like recently my music taste has just morphed into this monster that has a little bit of everything.
Okay, tell me, what have you been vibing? Because I can be such like I am a hardcore rock fan, babe, but I can vibe with you know what? I'm gonna let you tell me yours because mine is cringe. Go.
It's just so strange because like when I was younger, I was very much into like the alternative scene. I did like metal, I did like rock music, punk music. But then as I was getting older, it was getting like transformed, and I got more into new school rap, into pop, and now it's just this whole mix of everything. Like in my playlist, if you open it, like there's Slipknot, then Doja Cat, then Post Malone. It's just a little bit of everything. Oh, I love Doja Cat. I like Doja Cat.
She's not only hot but talented.
Yeah. She's awesome, and she transformed the music industry in a sense. Maybe not the whole music industry, but just a genre of new school rap / pop, because she's somewhere on the edge between the two always. And she had some
also
hits
from like
that really introduced that.
I'm fascinated by her resilience, though, because of the people have tried to smear her and assassinate her
Yeah,
character and like
yeah,
imply different things about her, like whether it's true or not. Like, and I think that I don't know. I thought she was a breath of fresh air, and I just find it fascinating that the higher dogs in the business. I'm not gonna name all of them because I don't know if the gossip's true, but like different people that try to end her career just because they were jealous because she was the new
yeah,
puppy.
yeah.
But I have respect for Doja Cat. So like with your music choice though, you love rock music, you love it all. Like, is there any
Love
like what's your favorite
everything.
like song to listen to right now?
Right now, ooh, that's such a tough question, actually.
Take your time.
Um,
We're on a rock show, so we might as well talk about music a little.
you know how, like, so one of my favorite artists ever is Post Malone,
Okay,
but I
vibe.
was more into his like rap era, and now he's like country era. I don't dig as
Yeah.
much, but he had this song with Morgan Wallen called "I Had Some Help," and it just gets stuck in my head, and I can't stop listening to it.
What's some of
So I
the
guess I do
lyrics
like
to
him.
it, babe? Help me out.
I had some help all by myself. I can't
I
remember.
swear to God, that wasn't my
Something like
ploy to
that.
make you sing. I swear, but you're.
No, no, no. I am not. Thing about me is I'm not a singer, not a dancer. You
You're
know,
just
I'm,
freaking intelligent and gorgeous.
I can talk for however long, but
Oh, don't say
anything
that.
else,
So
no.
could I.
I'm a
Dude.
certified yapper. And that's,
Well, I love that about you. So am I, especially when I vibe with someone like you. Like I literally, my
yeah,
producer's gonna kill me because I told him at the longest I'll be on with my girlfriend for 30 to an hour, but you and I could go for so long. So let's
yeah,
how long have we been on? Like not even 20. So
yeah.
we're doing good. We're not in trouble
Doing,
yet.
doing good. Look at us go.
Okay, so what else do you want to talk about, babe? Like we talked about your social media. Like a lot of the questions that I had on there was kind of blended, but like you're doing these seminars.
Yeah,
We talked about your involvement with wrestling. What you want to do with the future of wrestling? We dipped our toe in even in music. Do you want to talk about movies now? Like what's
we
the
can,
last movie
yeah.
that you've seen?
Ooh, what was the last movie? I actually watched oh, it's not the movie. It's not the movie, but it's a TV show. But I just watched the new season of Squid Game, and I
Is it
really
good?
liked
Season
it.
two?
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen it yet?
Tell me if
No?
I've seen season one. I haven't seen season two. Is it as good as season one?
Yeah, I would say it is. You should watch it. I really liked it. And it's
Okay.
like some people dislike it because I guess as like the Western, like especially American viewer, like you're not really used to a different type of filmography, right? Because it's a Korean show. And you're maybe not used to like a different way that they unfold the plot. You're not used to a different way that they act. But I feel like it's so fun to explore that. And one of the things that I really like about it actually is those little snippets of like Korean culture that you get to experience too. Like the food, like the sceneries, the streets. Like it's just really cool to
I I
escape the
personally
American bubble for a little bit.
I love that that's your takeaway from it. I love that so much. It's such a unique viewpoint on it. I personally now the way that they filmed the first one I vibed with, so I'll definitely like the second one then. They didn't go
Yeah,
like over the
I think
top, they
you
didn't
would.
change.
Yeah,
Well, I feel
and
like people that are just stuck in the American way, like they need to like expand their
get
palate.
unstuck. Yeah,
You know what I mean? Expand your palate. Like
yeah,
it's okay to like cheeseburgers, but let's try something like escargot once in a blue moon.
yeah. No, that works for honestly anything. And like not to circle back to wrestling, but like
It's
my
okay. We
hidden
can talk about
talent
it all, baby.
is to bring wrestling into any conversation. That's what I
It's
do.
us. Come on.
I just I was really honestly vibing with it when you said that you live and breathe wrestling. Like I really feel that. I really relate to
Talk
that.
about it.
And I just feel like, for a lot of people it's like they don't people who are not in wrestling, they don't get it. Where like you're so addicted to it, you can't stop. Like you said, not wrestling wouldn't even be an option. And that's the same for me. Like I've gone through so many stages as a content creator, as a journalist. Now I'm trying to be, an educator, and it's been a transformation. But in my mind, not for a second, quitting wrestling was never an option. Like, seeking something else or trying it out in different field. Even though with my media education, I do have clients that are not in wrestling, and I feel like media literacy is applicable to anything.
Yeah.
But ultimately, my heart belongs to wrestling. And there was not a single stage in my life where I was like, huh, maybe I should quit. Not for a
Have
second.
people asked you that before? Have people asked when is the time to give up wrestling?
I haven't been asked that yet. I think maybe it's because yeah, I'm still fairly young. I'm still,
Yes, you are.
I'm still
Yes.
doing it. So maybe not quite the time to think about retirement. People have asked me though that like, oh, like if something happened and you were to quit right now, like would you think that you've achieved enough? Like would you think that you had a successful career? And my answer is no, because I'm my toughest critic and I'm always trying to do more, be more, do bigger things, and I feel like it's never
Never
enough,
ending.
it's
You're
never big
always
enough.
learning and you're always growing. Is
Yeah,
it the
yeah.
principle of just the addiction of the business? As long as you have your toe in it, you're never a failure, or is it the end goal that you're talking about though? Is it just keeping your toe in it, or do you just have the drive of I gotta accomplish that or I fail?
I think it's the latter. I think it's like
Okay.
I either succeed or I fail, but giving up is not an option.
Oh my God, you are
uh,
my sister. Oh my God. When people told me when I was in the wheelchair, they're like, did you ever think about quitting? And I was just like, I didn't know that was an option.
yeah, yeah,
Like, why would that be an option? Like,
yeah,
I
and
fucking
that's
love this
honestly
sport
that
way too fucking much.
I feel like that means that we're where we're supposed to be,
Or
not
we're
to
not
get
meant to, well, one of the two. It depends if you're talking to my therapist or not.
it's one or the other. I don't know.
Maybe both.
Maybe both, maybe a little bit of both.
I
And I'm like,
love
not
that
to get
drive
sloppy,
in
but
you.
I believe in, signs. I believe in destiny. And I know maybe it sounds a little naive, right? But
No, not
I
at all.
I was just
Continue.
I was actually just talking to someone today and they were like, like wrestling is something very strange for a mainstream viewer still, and like what is it that you were so captivated by it? And I honestly don't have an answer. I just fell in love with it,
Well,
and
how
and
would
that's
you
it. And there was
answer
no
it
looking
though?
back.
What was it that made you fall in love? Do you remember the moment? Because I do. I remember my moment.
Yeah. What was
I
your
want. I
moment,
want.
Shani? Maybe it'll make
Yeah.
the gears
Okay.
turn for me too. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, baby. So I'm not going to get into my backstory, obviously, because this is about you and I want to highlight you. But it basically, I was in the business for like 2 years. I was literally the kid that was going tearing up and down the rings. Like I'm talking, I was the janitor, ground up to become the true performer. That to the stage I'm at right now. Like I started from the ground up. I was that poor
Mm.
kid. So it was about the mental abuse and the harassment from the promoters and the photographers that tried to lure me in, and I didn't get to fall in love with it from being that
Yeah.
little kid, that fan, because of the trauma of like 2 years in the business I had to endure. But on my like 2 years in the business, there was this moment, and I was just the valet, right? I was just that little girl, and we were the heels and the antagonists in the match, and there was like maybe 300 people in the crowd, right? And the whole shtick was, the storyline was, we're these disgusting heels that the crowd hates. When that third wall was broke and the
Yeah.
audience like was wanting to F me up. And it's just like, oh, it's that tingling magic. It's beyond theater at
Hmm.
this point. It's like real
Yeah.
life superhero stuff. So I'm the heel, the antagonist, and my partner at the time was losing the match, but the belt wasn't on the line. So
Hmm.
that was the whole shtick. So the audience didn't know the belt wasn't on the line. So when the match was over and we had lost, everyone, euphoria, was like an uproar that we lost, and it's
Yeah.
like, ha ha ha, you lost. And to have 300 people screaming at you in victory because you failed, and then you can just get on the mic and be like, but the belt was not on the line.
And the all
And
hell breaks loose.
when I tell you the fear and the excitement of a mob forming because they hate you that much, and you have to run outside through this trashy little locker room
Yeah.
and dive into a vehicle and get the fuck out. The adrenaline in my heart, and I'm like, oh my God, I love wrestling. I freaking love wrestling. This is it. I want to do this for the rest of my life. And
Yeah.
it was like the most magical sensation ever. And it's so odd because you had a mob trying to kill you. And he's like, but I
And you're like,
orchestrated that.
yes, I
It's
love
like,
it.
yes, but I orchestrated that. It was my performance. It was my art. And,
Yeah.
and it manifested in something so beautiful.
And that hate is like the ultimate confirmation that you successfully delivered it, right?
It was
That
so
you did your
validating that
job.
they wanted to kill me.
Yeah. It's everyone's dream.
Well, to me,
Everyone should feel
I mean,
that.
if I was a baby face, I'd question my entire existence.
I mean, right, yeah.
So did I? So do you know that sensation, baby? You know what I'm talking about when
I
you're like,
do, I
I'm in love.
do, yeah. Yeah. I honestly, I don't know if I can pinpoint like an exact moment. I think like, and that's part of the reason why I don't really have an answer because for me, like, I was 11 years old, I saw it on TV, and I need you to understand that at the time, I barely spoke any English. I couldn't even really understand what was going on.
Oh my god, how terrifying for you!
I was just was flipping through the channels. I saw SmackDown
This is
at the time,
perfect.
and I was so, for whatever reason, so captivated. And you know how some people like take some time to warm up to it, or some people start watching as a kid and then kind of, uh, drop it when they're a teen and then go
Like
back.
outgrow it or something. Yeah.
I outgrow it. Yeah, a lot of people say I outgrew it. I didn't have that for a second. Like the moment that I saw it for the first time, I've just been in love head over heels with wrestling ever since.
Yeah,
And
and
for
no one.
me,
Like when you were that kid though,
yeah,
who explained it to you, baby? Like were you scared? Were you
my
just
dad.
enraptured by
No,
the
I was not scared. Yeah,
what?
no, I was not scared at all. I saw it. I immediately enjoyed it. I wanted to watch more. I wanted to keep watching. I think there
Who
was like a
stood
very
out
brief
to you? Do
moment.
you remember the faces?
Yeah, so like around the time I started watching, it was Kofi Kingston, Batista,
Okay.
Edge, then
All
later
right.
Miz, who became one of my favorite wrestlers. But yeah, I think I had like a brief moment, like like any kid, when I thought that it was real or not scripted or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, so
But
you it was
my
real for you as a child. It was
for a
Santa Claus
very
real.
for a very short period of time,
Oh no,
and
what
then
happened? Who burst that bubble?
promptly, promptly, my dad told me that it was
Oh,
scripted,
oh, Dad!
and
God,
honestly, I am so grateful for that. I
why?
think that it shaped my entire idea of wrestling, my entire perception, and my love for it, honestly. I feel
Okay,
like
so
if
it was
I,
a positive. It wasn't Santa Claus
yeah,
isn't real
no, it was
traumatized.
1,000% a positive. And even when he told me for the first time, I don't remember being upset or or hurt about it at all. I can just accept it as a reality. And I think that's part of the reason why I stuck with it, because at heart I'm a very peaceful person. I don't like violence. I don't like non-consensual violence. Um,
Yes,
but with
non-consensual
with
violence.
wrestling, like that's what makes it beautiful to me. That like it's two people or more, right? But the standard match,
Yeah.
two people working together to create something beautiful, and in the process, while trying to make it look like this violent show of power, they're trying to protect each other, and they're not actually trying to hurt each other. And that to me is such a beautiful idea that I really fell in love with it.
Oh wow. So that's your story, babe. It wasn't
Yeah,
just as a child and like children are enraptured by wrestling. And even with my chainsaw, a lot of promotions are
yeah,
like kids like that. It's like, oh no, it's like
they
actually
love it.
they book me as a baby face because the kids love it. So it's it makes sense to be a child and falling in love with it. I think you have a beautiful organic story by saying how you didn't even speak English and you were just like, what is this? And how
Yeah,
fascinating and how fun for you, though. How
yeah.
unique.
And honestly, wrestling is a big part of the reason that I even learned English.
Oh,
And
you learned English through wrestling. This is
yeah,
beautiful.
and it's one thing to just be taught at school and like you have lessons you don't really want to go to, or like you're not really that driven to actually learn. But for me, I was always driven to learn English because I was just so like eager to understand what was going on in WWE, like what was
Oh,
going on
great.
my screen on the TV.
You need to write a book, baby.
I
Once you
do, honestly, I do. I want to eventually I want to do it. And it's like there's two sides to it, because on the one side, I have so many like philosophical thoughts about wrestling and about
yeah.
inclusion in wrestling and about the nature of it as an art, as a performing art. But then on the other side of things, I've done so many things. I've traveled so much. I've met so many people. I've been in so many situations that that in itself could just be a whole comedy book.
Okay. So it sounds like we got a series here, guys, but it sounds like
Yeah, a two-parter,
you
riveting.
I like that though about you. You have the professionalism, you have the you have the professional side, and then you have the personal side. And I think those are two
Yeah.
different books that need to be told. These stories need to be told, babe. And your story is still being written though. So continue flourishing because I see we've already spoken into existence within the next 5 years, babe. You got this.
Yeah.
Like you'll be there before me, obviously, but but honestly, like I see you doing an amazing career, and
Thank
especially
you.
like this is a different time. It's not just because there's so many jobs for everyone now, but it's a different time period where good people are flourishing and the mean girls are out and the good girls are in,
True.
and it's like the gatekeeping of the old days of the 90s and 80s are like are non-existent anymore. And I well it exists, but
Yeah, but not to the
me and
same
my mom are going
extent.
to talk.
Yeah.
Never mind. Let's push the good people. Let's push
Yeah,
the good
yeah. And
people.
honestly, not only is it a good time to be a wrestling fan, it's also a good time to be in a wrestling locker room. Like wrestling right now is safer,
Safer.
kinder than
Yes.
it's ever been. And even like you don't have to think too far into the past. Like even 5 years ago, for example, like Billy Starks or Millie McKenzie being like young underage girls, it was a whole discussion of should they be in a wrestling locker room? Is it a safe
Right.
space for a young girl to be? And now we're way past that. Now, of course, there's still going to be bad apples. There's always going to be bad
A
apples,
thousand
right?
percent. But to
But
have
now they're getting called out and they're actually facing consequences.
yes. So it is
Yeah,
definitely like I mean it's not like it was when I was 18 in the business. Like that
right.
was the scary time. But now I think that there's a lot of good people being pushed, and I feel like you should be pushed. I feel like
And I feel like you should be pushed.
I'm sick. Like I'm sick. Let me see if my body is even healthy enough.
Yeah, yeah,
But the business needs people with the creative mind like you because like you look at it more than just the mark mentality, but then also you look at it more than oh I went to school, I got a business degree, but I don't know anything about wrestling. You literally
yeah.
are kind of like the perfect candidate, and people would be insane not to hire you.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like what I have is valuable because my knowledge is extremely specific. Like I've been in
Yeah,
the wrestling business for, like I said, 7 years, and I've been like in wrestling locker rooms all over the world. It's Russia, it's Romania, it's Spain, it's United States. I've seen so many different people, so many different wrestling cultures and promotions, and so many different ways that they handle business. And
yeah,
as a PR professional, as a media professional, I've started to see what the gaps are and how to fill them. So I feel like it is like you're right, it is a perfect amalgamation of media knowledge and wrestling knowledge, and it
yeah.
exists together here.
I'm fascinated by that. So, like, do you see like is wrestling just virtually a universal thing, or is it like completely different in other countries?
Honestly, that is such a profound question.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, like yeah, a little bit of both, yes and no, because uh, the origins of wrestling are very different in different countries, right? Because, for example, even if you take American wrestling, the sports entertainment wrestling, and then you take, for example, lucha in Mexico, the history, the origins, the meaning is very different. The meaning of your gear, of how the fans are supposed to react to you, the extent that kayfabe is kept outside of the TV product or the show product or whatever it is. Um, and then that culture and that history is different in Japan as well. But then those places, the places with the bigger scenes like Japan, like Mexico, like the US, like England, like Germany as well, um, they've been the hotspots. And then the countries where there hasn't really been a wrestling culture are emulating one or the other. So
Okay.
for example, in Russia, right? I started in Russia. The wrestling industry in Russia is fairly young. Like the oldest promotion is like 25, 26, 27 years old.
All right.
Uh, so we right now have people who are actively wrestling who, for example, I'm sure you've heard of Natalia Markova. She's in NWA.
Okay.
She's actively wrestling. She's in at the peak of her career. And she was quite literally one of the very, very first female wrestlers in Russia. It's
How
crazy.
insanely cool is that?
We're witnessing those pioneers active in their prime right now,
It,
as we
it,
are alive at the
it's
same time as them.
it's sad that it's taken so long, but heck yeah, good for her. We love that
Yeah.
for her.
And
So
it's
this
like
is exciting.
with countries where wrestling started budding later, you can't really say that it's been as much of an isolated culture like Japan or like Mexico. They're emulating American wrestling, but then it translates to the local audience, and then it translates to how you work with a local audience that's not used to wrestling. For example, deathmatch wrestling is really big in Russia because with the
Oh,
very like masculine patriarchal culture, it's almost like it's not cool to like something that's not violent enough. So the
so that makes sense.
violence
Actually, that makes
flourishes.
sense why the
Yeah.
death matches are more prone for that. Like whereas so they're not really into the high flyers.
No, I mean, there's a little bit of it, but it's mostly very like hard hitting, very uh violent, I guess, for the lack of a better word, stuff. And I'm sure that like maybe if you don't even know the name, you're definitely familiar with some Russian deathmatch wrestlers because remember some years ago there was that video that went really viral where the guy like sets a guitar on fire and hits the other dude with it.
I'm sure I've seen it.
Yeah, but like it went viral because I think the fire ended up way bigger than they anticipated it to be. It was a blaze. It was a flame. And
Wrestling live shows, nothing will go according to plan.
yeah, as a rule.
We love that.
But that was from a backyard deathmatch show in Russia, and a lot of deathmatch wrestlers. This guy's name is Alex Nabiev. They know him. They respect him. He's a big part of the culture, and he's a big part of the history of deathmatch wrestling. But
Yeah.
then if you take Spain, they have closer ties and relationships with the European scene because geographically, they're close. So they have a relationship with the British scene. There's a lot of talent exchange with Progress, with Rev Pro, and they have a closer relationship with the German scene, because flights are short and cheap. So it's easy to work together like that, right?
Nice. Yeah. And then
Um,
the Italians as well. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then the Italians as well. So it's a different style that's closer to the British style. Uh, but
Interesting. See,
then
like,
in Spain, just in terms of population, there's a lot of people from Latin America coming to Spain because it's the same language, because it's easy to assimilate. So when people are looking for new opportunities, they come to a country that has the same language that they already speak, right? So a big, big chunk of the Spanish wrestling scene is people from Latin America. Like even people who are now on the international scene. I'm not sure if you saw, but recently Suzuya has been getting a lot of exposure. He's been on RevPro, he's been on Progress, he's been on the joint show that they had with New Japan. He actually wrestled Soraya's brother recently.
okay.
And they bill him from Madrid because he represents the Spanish wrestling scene. He came out of a Spanish wrestling school, wrestling promotion, but he's not even from Spain. He's from Latin America. And that's a big chunk of the culture as well. I could go on and on. I could talk
No,
about
I
it for
love this.
hours,
I
but
am
yeah.
literally, I am absorbing everything you're saying. I love this. So like to add my bit to it, like, okay, so I've been too sick to travel, so for years, and so I didn't get the European experience. But the little bit that
Yeah.
I did dip my toe in with America, I noticed like the Southern style of wrestling,
Yeah.
or when I was just the student for under a year under Funaki and really just marinating his style, that was Japanese style, and then
Yeah.
for my year out at Rikishi's, we got the Samoans, like we got that style of their family you could even say that that's its own style of wrestling. So
For sure. Yeah.
I'm not as educated as you or firsthand experienced as you yet, but the little bit that I noticed with the crowds, like the way that the crowds react to the different style of wrestling, especially like if you're like, I noticed the Southern crowds are way different than the Philly crowds,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
and I love that though. I love that
Yeah,
because it's like we're all part of the same world, but we all have our
but
different.
it's different. Yeah.
I
And then
I feel like wrestling is a recipe. It's a recipe for a certain meal, and we all put our own ingredient to the course. If that makes
I love
sense.
that. I love that metaphor. That's amazing. Yeah, exactly like that.
Please
I was just
word
gonna
it less
say,
stupid. Please word it less.
no,
It's
it's
me,
not stupid at
baby.
all.
I'm
No,
stupid.
it's no. You're so right, and that's why. in my opinion, the best wrestling happens when all of those things mix. It's like when
How
you
great
see a
is it when
wrestler.
you have a wrestling
Mhm.
show and it has a little bit of everything?
Yeah, yeah. And that's part of the reason why I like AEW, honestly, because they're showcasing lucha, they're showcasing Joshi, they're showcasing deathmatch adapted for TV, which is in itself a great thing to do, I think.
Yeah.
Classic wrestling. It's a little bit of everything. And then, for example, when a wrestler who grew up, for example, in like the British strong style goes and trains in the New Japan dojo, and they assimilate and they absorb the Japanese style, and it birth this amazing mixture of everything. I think that's like the beauty of the
If
differences that can ultimately come together and create something
if
amazing.
you decided, fuck it, I'm gonna lace up my boots, what style would you pick?
I don't know. Honestly, this is such a interesting question for me because I used to have people ask me if I were going to wrestle, if I were going to train to wrestle a lot. But I think at this point, like I'm a little more known in the community and people have just given up asking me. But a
I
lot
figured
of
you
people
got
who,
asked that question a lot, and I figured you were annoyed by it by now, so I wasn't going to ask you about that. But if you could pick a style of wrestling,
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm annoyed by it. I just have a lot of people who are like coaches ask me because I guess they hate to see a 5'11" girl go to waste who could be
oh,
taller than
you'd be a
everyone else.
force. It's not just your
Yeah,
beauty; it's dead ass. You'd be a force. But so well,
yeah, what
would you
style?
be a high flyer?
Oh no, I'm too tall and too heavy for that.
I
That's
feel like
physically impossible, brother.
baby,
um,
have you seen Charlotte Flair?
that's true. I think she's
Okay,
the same height as me, right? Yeah, yeah.
checkmate. You guys are fucking queens.
I take that back. Yeah, you're right. No, I think
But
I
so
would.
that's not your vibe though. Like if you could just pick.
Yeah, I think I would maybe move towards like the diva era type of style because I
Love
feel
it.
like it's something that I grew up with and it's something that has been stigmatized in a way and like partially rightfully because it wasn't a
There's a
great era
part
for
for
women's
it.
wrestling.
There's a place for it. Continue.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. It's just that everything is great when you can choose to do it or not do it. And why it wasn't great in the past is because women
Because that
didn't
was
have a choice.
we were all
Yeah,
typecasted. I get
yeah, you
that.
had to be this diva, you had to be pretty. You had to put on your panties and bras and do those
Yeah.
short matches and everything. But now that we have a choice and now that we have can integrate it, we can reclaim it. Not to use
Oh,
a
I love how you
big
put
word
that
like
so
that, but
beautifully. Because that's always been a stigma and an argument I have had. Because my gimmick as the Black Dahlia has been obviously she uses her sexuality to. My gimmick is the Attitude Era. My gimmick is the vile DX suck it. Like Dahlia
yeah,
is that Attitude Era. So to have the stigma of boobs and butt. Like, there's a place for that. And I've always had to
yeah,
argue that, but you put it so well where, as a typecast, there was only one place for the females, and we were the bathroom breaks, or
yeah,
we were just the eye candy. And then now to be able to be like, no, I choose this because it's an art and because this is my gimmick, and that's what it's always been. And now I think it's more respected. Like we can,
yeah.
as long as someone's not arguing it, I feel like we could be more respected and people understand. Because like, why was it always okay for a guy to walk out with a porn stash?
Why
And
was it always okay for guys to wrestle in tiny trunks, but the moment a
it's
woman does
like it's
it,
okay to find that attractive and be like, oh my god, okay, bet that's hot. But it's like to only be that. Like so a guy can literally have a porn stash and do a porn gimmick and that's respected and we pat him on the ass and say yes that's artistic and he's a good artist but or a good artist but then when we do it it's that's who we are in real life.
yeah, I think we all know the answer as to why, because of misogyny. That's just the easy, short answer to why
Well,
that happens.
okay,
But
so you would be that antagonist. You would be the attitude era diva, whether you're babyface or heel. I love that for you.
maybe not even the attitude era, maybe like a little later, maybe like the ruthless aggression-ish, like adjunct to PG era, because
Yes.
that's what I grew up with.
Right.
And one of my favorite wrestlers growing up was Beth Phoenix. And I love that combination of like fitting into that diva era and being that gorgeous, perfect, polished personality, but also she very much was the anti-diva, quote unquote, right? Because
Yeah,
she didn't quite fit the mold. She was strong, she was powerful, she was not just pretty and nice to
she
look
was a
at. She was
badass. Yeah.
an athlete, a badass, yeah. And I just really love that. And I feel like, with my size, with how tall I am, and like with all of that, I think it just works. I love me personally, I love a wrestler, but also just in any other sphere, a character, a woman who's beautiful, but also powerful and scary and intimidating. So
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, I think that's I think that's great. I think we got a lot of that as well, like through Charlotte recently, but
yeah,
and then we
I agree
have
with that.
who Rhea Ripley doing that mommy gimmick. That is boss
Yeah,
lady vibes. Like, and then of course we had China, pave the way with that. But
for sure. Yeah,
I, Natalia, Natalia would be mine.
yeah,
Natalia has always been hot, but she's always been the badass as well. Like,
yeah.
so if I
And I
could
feel like
have,
also a big part of her personality throughout the years has been that she's sweet. And I really, and she, she loves her cats, and she's sweet, and she takes pictures with kids, and she has little cat ears. And I just love the concept of you can be strong and sweet. Like being strong
okay,
doesn't mean you have to be the stoic, like indifferent personality. You can be both things. So yeah, I really love that about her.
that's cool. Yeah, she's the princess in our business. She's from the
Yeah.
bloodline. She's from one of our royal families in this wrestling business, and I can't wait to actually link up with her in the future. Like I would
Yeah.
love to even if God lets me wrestle again, she's one of my matches. One of my matches. That's what I'm
Yeah.
manifesting.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Let's
Love
see.
that.
So we've been on not too long. Is there anything I've missed, baby? Like this has been fun. Like, do you like?
Um,
I don't want to keep you too much because you got your own personal life, but I wanted to keep it under an hour. Like, what else should we talk
right.
about?
Yeah, I think I was also going to share that I actually have new merch coming out,
Yes, that
and
was on the
it's not
list.
just
Merch
one
and social
thing.
media plugs. Okay.
Yeah, I have like two different merch designs coming out. So, and they're both created in collaborations, and I love that because one thing is to treat wrestling as solely a business, which it is a business, right? And it is to be treated this way. But I love it when people in the business can find each other and collaborate and be mutually beneficial and create something beautiful. So I'm very excited to put out both of them, and they'll be out on Person Tees and on my Teespring, and all my links are in my socials, but you can just look up Xenia did that Teespring. Um, and I'm so excited to release that. One of them is a more classic variation of my logo, but with a neon twist. And the other one, I decided to fully lean into like a dark, like a black metal aesthetic. And that's so unusual for me. And I honestly love the juxtaposition of how, like, in real life, I'm very like feminine presenting, and like I love the color pink and everything. But
Yeah.
that shirt is like the freaking like 90s black metal band shirt. And I'm so excited to release it.
Oh my gosh. And when is that dropping, babe?
Should be dropping next week.
Guys, okay, so this is live right now, and then my producers are dropping the edited version very soon. So make sure I will tag the links when they drop this as well. Guys, I want one. And I love that for you because it's like literally the feminine and the rocker, and that's like both my personalities, and I feel like that's also
Yeah,
why we
yeah.
vibe. Like it's literally you're my soul sister. You're like my baby
Oh,
sister, and I adore you so much. Like you're just like a
thanks.
vibe. You're a moment, and I can't wait to like hang out with you because my doctor's
Yeah,
gonna let me travel more now. So this year I am going to be at different spots, and you and I are gonna link up. We'll do business, and
yeah.
I don't know, just like get dinner and hang out and be girls.
Yeah, we definitely need to, hang out in real life. And whenever that happens, I need to interview you for my channel. That has to happen.
Oh, what was it on your channel, babe?
I need to interview you for my channel whenever we actually meet up.
You have an interview? Like, wait, tell me about that. Plug that. You're an interviewer? Tell me about this.
I am, yeah. Yeah.
Am I
Rewind.
stupid? How am I friends with you and not know this?
That is actually like one of the main things that I do. And, and that's how I started in the wrestling business. because
Yes.
I was a
Continue.
YouTuber, right? And then my home promotion at the time, that was IWF Russia, reached out to me, wanted to do something together because I was growing, I was getting an audience, and we didn't know what I could do, so they just kind of made me do interviews, and that's how
Okay.
that started. Never thought I would, but that became such a big part of me and such a big love in my life. Absolutely love doing interviews. I've interviewed over 100 people. I keep a list, and that list is only what I've posted already. So in reality, that number is even bigger. In reality, that number is around 150 right now. And I've interviewed people in three languages, that being Russian, English, and Spanish. And the people that I've interviewed have been, wrestlers, wrestling personalities, commentators, wrestling adjacent people from over 20 countries, actually. So
Holy.
that's a
Oh,
body of work that
wow.
I'm very proud of. So yeah.
Congratulations. I knew you were intelligent, but like the those credentials, like congratulations. And you who was your favorite person to have interviewed so far? Tell me.
Oh my gosh, that's such a
On the
difficult question.
spot, on the spot, tell me.
Maybe I have to pick Nick Nemeth,
Who?
because Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Okay.
And I was lucky enough to interview him before he got released by WWE and after. So it's
Oh,
really cool to see like the change in perspective. Even though in the first interview we don't talk about wrestling that much, we mostly talk about his comedy, about his PR appearances. But still, it was really cool to see that transformation from Dolph Ziggler to Nick Nemeth, and from to the
yeah.
Wanted Man, and to be able to document it on my channel. And I feel like just following him and being a supporter of his has been a big part of my presence on the internet, as weird as that sounds. Because
Awesome. No,
when I
that's
was
awesome.
when I was a preteen and I was on Twitter, I was just a diehard Ziggler fan. I would post pictures of his merch all the time, and I would tag him and everything.
How
And
surreal is it to
right,
actually be
yeah,
friends with these people now? Like
yeah, and he's known me since then. He's like seen me pester him on Twitter since I was like
I love
13.
this.
So
Amazing.
it's
I
very
love this
special,
for
yeah.
you. Guys, like you guys that are watching, you don't understand. Like she just said something that I've been dealing with. Like to be these little girls, to be these
Yeah.
fans, and then to love this business, and then to finally we are colleagues with these people now. We are brushing shoulders with these people, and then we
Yeah.
are becoming friends with these people, and it's so cool, isn't
It
it?
is. It's honestly always such a surreal feeling because, like I said, I've been watching wrestling for decades at this point. Uh, and whenever I'm at the show and I, manage someone, or if I do like an in-ring segment, an interview, and I get
Yeah.
to like do an entrance and I get to walk out to my music, like that moment in itself is always so surreal to me, because
Like,
it's like
do you
I used
like
to go
tell
to this
you
and I'm
don't have to
here.
you don't have to answer this, baby, but do you like low key like feel like marking out like too? Like, are you like
I mean, yeah, don't we all, right?
well,
Like,
I
I think
mean,
like
we're working
anyone who works in
though.
wrestling is
I
at
mean,
heart a fan.
we're working. Like, it's like I'm
No, I
professional. I'm
keep my
professional.
composure. I keep my composure. I actually had a really cool like entrance experience once. So, um, there was this promotion in Barcelona here called Lucha Libre Barcelona,
Yeah.
and I used to manage a tag team there who were tag team champions at the time, and we were heels, very hated. And like I said, my accent and me not being local almost anywhere where I go really helps. The moment I open my
Okay.
mouth, I'm on the microphone, people are already booing, they already hate me.
Oh,
Um,
it's like yeah, it's like I don't mean to stereotype, but the Lana vibe.
yeah, yeah,
Perfect.
kind of, yes, yeah. Um, so I was mentioning that tag team, and they had this like big championship match, and it was so interesting how that coincided, because they both of them, they have their birthdays on the same day, and it was that day.
Oh my god.
So they did a really big entrance. We had the limo uh, like drive into the venue, like inside the venue, and walk to the ring
Yeah.
from the limo. And we were all wearing pink because that was their like color that they would wear. We were all wearing pink. And I'm the heel, I'm hated, everyone's booing. But internally, I'm like this is so cool. I love this. Like, I want to smile ear to ear. I'm just so happy that this is happening because this is such a cool moment. But yeah, on the outside, you have to keep your composure and you have to be cool and you have to be the character that you want to be.
Yeah, of course, of course. But in the when you're going down the ramp, you're like, hee.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's like I'm the bad guy walking out, but I'm going, hee. Well, man, I love that. I honestly, like, just for my producer's sake, let's end it on that. Like, I learned a couple new things about you. Like, I always knew you were intelligent. Don't get me wrong, but God, pause for a second. My mom's dog. Do you hear that?
I don't actually.
Thank fucking God. Oh my God. All I hear, let me 5 seconds and I will end this. 5 seconds.
Okay.
What the heck is going on?
What should we guys talk about? While Paige is gone, what should we do? Like the Cody Rhodes moment. What do you want to talk about? I wish I had like a live chat or something. I don't see any of that, unfortunately. I don't know, like, you know how some people like open the streams that they're on? I've seen people do that, like open the stream on their phone and like look at comments and look at the chat. I can't do that. I I don't have the attention span for that. So I'm just in the moment.
Like, literally 5 minutes. Oh my God. I am sorry.
I was talking to your viewers while you were gone.
That dog was yapping, and I was like, I am loving the story she's telling, and I cannot. Okay, all right. So, guys, then we'll cut this. So, guys, this is my girlfriend. She is not only gorgeous and insanely talented, and intelligent, but she's paving a way in the wrestling community and in the social media. Let me get this straight. Oh my God! And action. Guys, so hopefully they cut that out. Shit. Oh, my producer just texted me, girl, what just happened? I had to go get a dog. It was yapping outside. What do you want from me? I'm new. Anyway, so guys, this was my girlfriend. She's making an amazing positive way in the wrestling community, and I love following your career and I love following your journey and to learn about not just how you got involved with wrestling, but your passion for it, your intelligence level of understanding the business more than a lot of people that are making careers out of this already. Like there's you are what this business needs, and I am so blessed to know you. And thank you so much for coming on to this podcast, and thank you so much for just like spending time with me and being a girl and just like talking to me, because I could talk to you for hours, baby, off camera, and I look so forward to interacting with you this year. I know we're going to interact this year.
Yeah, me too. And like I said, we need to film something for my channel for sure. And thank you so much for having me. This has been great. I'm honored to be the first guest. This is great. And for everyone watching, thank you for watching this.
I get offered a job and I'm just like, hey.
And yeah, if anyone wants to find me, I'm at Xenia Did That on all the socials, on YouTube as well, youtube.com/@XeniaDidThat. If you want to find my merch, look up Xenia Did That on Wrestling Tees or Teespring. I also have a new newsletter that I've just started to connect more personally with you guys, with the viewers. So the links to that are in my socials as well. And if you're a wrestler or promoter, reach out to me, email me, DM me, or click the link and schedule a call, and let's talk about it and let's grow this wonderful business that we all love so much.
Heck yeah. It's a beautiful note. All right. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. The producers will cut it there. I know we're still technically live, but thank you again. All right. That was the episode. How funny is it? I get offered a job and I just like call you up and I'm like, hey.
I'm always down, you know. I always say that I'm down for anything if there's food in a shower. I'm down for anything.
Oh, queen. Yes. You and I will just have a spa day and we'll just go eat and have a relaxing day, and that'll be our day, and then involve wrestling. But I'm telling you, like I'm manifesting it, and now that I know what you truly want to do in this community, you'll get it on your own because of your hard work and your intelligence. But I am telling you this, I don't gaslight people. I don't like, if you have it, I tell you, I'm like, hey, you have it, and you have it, obviously. Yeah, and if I can do anything, I know we're live right now, so I'm not going to say too much, but maybe in the future you'll get another phone call and be like, hey, I got offered a job.
Love that. And that goes both ways. You know, if you have any questions, need any help with the socials or anything, and whenever I start the seminars, and that's going to start next week as well, I'll drop the announcement and everything on my socials. You are 1,000% invited. So
perfect.